Welcome to Wouldn't We Like to Know
with Ariel
and Linda, the podcast where we get honest, deep, and curious about life's big conversations.
Because we don't have to do it alone.
No, we don't. What are we talking about on this episode, Ariel?
God knows. Only God knows what we talked about on this episode. We talked about a lot of different random things. And also just full disclosure, we had some technical difficulties. We had some noise in the background. We had some buzzing, some vacuum. So it was today's episode is a little bit scattered, but guess what?
It's a little chaotic.
That happens.
That's
happens.
Yeah.
We kind of start talking about a celebrity sighting.
Ooh.
And then we talk about more celebrity things. And then we talk about height. And like, why do people care? Let's talk about that, because why not? And then we talk about, little things that are really easy to fix and yet feel like a huge thing to try to overcome. And like, what's that about? Yeah. We don't know.
And then we talked a little bit about therapy. We talked a little bit about TBM, classic topics on this pod.
And like how self-work is work. It is not the same as resting and relaxing. And that's an important distinction.
And regulating your nervous system.
Yeah. Literally anything you could think of, we probably talked about.
Yeah. Name a topic right now. Go. We talked about it.
Perfect. Done.
Great. Yeah.
All right, everybody. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Instagram at Wouldn't We Like to Know. We share videos from the episodes. We share photos from our weeks. You can also please subscribe to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, or or on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
That's right. You can also leave us a review anywhere you listen to podcasts. On Spotify, you could just leave us a quick star review. It takes you 2 seconds. On Apple Podcasts, you can even leave us some words. It helps people find our podcast and helps us get discovered. So it would be so appreciated. Also, you can email us at wouldn'twelike-to-know@gmail.com. We love hearing your feedback on the episodes with any guest suggestions or topic suggestions. Send them our way there.
Today, we needed a topic suggestion because we are both tired and running on empty a little bit. So anyway, if you want us to talk about something specific, let us know.
You can tell us. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Enjoy the chaos.
I have a fun thing that happened to me about 10 minutes ago. I was on a little walk. I've been doing this morning routine. I think I talked about it in the last episode of the podcast. My little morning routine where I get up in the morning, get ready, go for a little walk as soon as I possibly can, do TBM, and then make breakfast and have coffee. Well, this morning the routine was a little bit different, but that's okay. But I was walking back from my boyfriend's apartment, and we went and sat on the water for a little bit, and it was really lovely. And then we're walking down a street that I know Bradley Cooper lives on. I've never seen him though. And I've lived in this neighborhood now for 6, 7, almost 9 months. And I walk past his house all the time. Have never seen him. This morning I saw him. This morning I saw him taking out his trash. And I made direct eye contact with him and then continued to walk. Anyways, it was a moment for me.
Did sparks fly?
I was holding hands with my boyfriend.
That's okay. Things happen.
I mean, I think sparks flew just generally. My boyfriend also saw him and squeezed my hand a couple times to get me to look over there. And I was like, no, baby, I already saw. And we kept walking, and he Bradley went back inside to his house. And then we stopped on the sidewalk, and I was like, oh my God, did that just happen? That's crazy. That's wild. Because it felt like such an expander moment to me of this is an actor who is so successful, who I really respect. Jordan and I saw Maestro a couple months ago, and I know that had some mixed reviews, but he is an incredible actor, and he is objectively incredibly successful as an actor. And so just to be I just walked by his house and I saw him, and he lives in the same neighborhood as I do, and he's my neighbor. That felt just like wildly expansive.
Hell yeah.
And I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, one day I'm going to work with him and I'm going to be like, yeah, I walked by your house once and saw you taking out the trash and we make eye contact. You remember. You remember.
He'll be like, I do remember. And you were
Yeah.
holding hands with a man and I saw you squeeze his hand harder. He's going to know all the details. And
I
he'll
know.
say
Make
it to you
sure
in
he
French
saw.
because he speaks French.
Oh, that's right. He does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jordan was like, back off, man. She's taken. And I was like, well, he's dating Gigi Hadid. I'm sure he's
Are
just
they?
fine. Yeah.
They are? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think
That's cool.
I mean, they were. I don't know if they still
Okay.
are, but I think they still are. Yeah.
All right.
They
Did he
both
look
have
well?
kids. He looked great.
Good.
He looked like a
Okay. I'm
little
happy.
tan. Maybe he's been on vacation lately. I don't know. Yeah, he looked
Good.
fantastic. He looked refreshed. He looked casual. He was wearing a big t-shirt, just
Yeah. Taking
chilling,
out the
living his life,
trash.
taking out the trash. Celebs, they're just
Stars,
like
they're
us.
just like us. Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like him a
Yeah.
lot. I feel like he seems like a really cool guy. Like he seems pretty intense, but like
Yeah.
in a good way. And I also know from Dax on Armchair Expert that like they're
Mm.
both in the program and they're both sober and
Right.
like apparently
Yeah.
he's been just like a very, very good friend and like support system to Dax. So I'm like,
Mm.
you're a good guy.
It's
I
beautiful.
feel like
Yeah.
he's a good guy, but
Yeah.
who
It does
knows?
seem that way. It does seem that way.
Yeah.
Also, I'm super fascinated by he talked on Armchair Expert about the layout of his house a little bit and how he has a cold plunge in the basement or something like that, and then he'll like go up to his roof. He has a beautiful roof. It has like trees on it and it's like stunning.
Yeah. This is still Bradley.
This is still Bradley.
Yeah.
And he'll go up there and do like meditation after he does his cold plunge. So like he's clearly like into wellness and
Mhm.
grounding, which especially
Yeah.
as an actor, like taking on different personas, I really admire him being so open about like his wellness routine and taking care of himself and like how he manages that.
Yeah.
It
I
feels
love that.
expansive to me. Yeah.
Next time you see him, you should ask to use his cold plunge. No, you know what? You won't want to use it. Ask if I can use it when I come visit.
Okay. Yeah.
Ask him if I can use it.
Totally. I'll make sure to ask. This morning I just felt like I was like, "Oh, that's him. That's crazy." Okay, don't stare at him. Like leave him be. Let him take out his trash. Like don't make him feel uncomfortable. That's kind of like my feeling when I see celebrities. I like have one peek and then I'm like, "Holy shit, that's," and like in my head I have a little tiny freak out because I'm like, "I know who that is. That's wild. They're right there." But like I don't
Yeah.
want to stare at them or make them feel uncomfortable. I don't want them to know that I know who they are, even though I'm sure that they
Mhm.
can like see the slight twinge in my eye and notice that
Yeah.
like
They have
I
to
know
know.
something. They must know.
Mhm.
They see like the look of recognition and like familiarity probably. But like I don't want to make
Yeah.
them feel uncomfortable. So even when Jordan like squeezed my hand, I was like, "Yep, I know. I'm not looking to look over there again. I'm going to like let
You're like,
him."
be cool, man.
Yeah, I'm like, "Be cool."
Be
Pretend like
cool.
we don't know who he is even though we totally walk by his house every time and we're like, "Ah, Bradley, are you home? His lights are on."
He's just a neighbor. He's just a man, just a neighbor.
Yeah. To be fair, like I
Yeah.
know one of my neighbors and I walk by her house and I'm like, "Oh, she's home. Her lights are on." So it's not like that weird.
It's fine. It is
It's
what it
fine.
is. They're public figures. You know
Exactly.
where they
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny with
Well, yeah, they're my
celebrities.
neighbor. Of course I know where they live. That would be weird if
Yeah,
I didn't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But with celebrities, especially in New York, like you see, I don't know, it's like normal to see people walking down the street. Celebrities live in New
Totally.
York.
Yeah.
But also like working in restaurants, like working at the places that I've worked, I've served slash seen many, many celebrities.
Yeah.
And there have really only been two that I was like really excited about. Like
Who?
that I was like, I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
When I was in San Francisco, I worked at this vegan
Oh
sushi place, which is like an oxymoron. But I
yeah.
went to this vegan sushi place that had all this hype, and Sam Rockwell came in once, and he's one of my favorite actors. This
Yeah.
probably was like 2013 or 2014,
Mhm.
and I went up to my table. I said, hello, whatever. And then I like turned and I was like, oh, it's you. I was like, it's you. And I
Yeah.
was like, hi, I'm a really big fan. And he was so sweet and like obviously like there with friends, and the rest of the night I was just chill. But then I
Yeah.
kept his receipt. So I have his receipt, and he tipped 25%. So
Love
he's
that.
still okay. And then
Yeah.
the other one was, so when I was still in New York, I worked at a Michelin starred restaurant that would get all these people in. And the person that I got the most excited about was from Top Chef. Actually, there were two
You
people,
love.
but I served one of them from Top Chef. So it was like Bravo celebrity / like Chef World celebrity that maybe not everyone would know, but I was like, hi. For
Yeah.
him, it was very casual. Kwame, his name is Kwame. He also has a restaurant in New York, and he like hosts certain things on Food Network, I guess, or Bravo. I don't know. But yeah, he came in and I served him and was chill. And then at the very end, I was like, I'm a big fan of your work. And he was like, oh, thank you. And he was really nice. So that
Yeah.
was fun. But
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of other people, and I don't know if it's just like I'm desensitized, but I'll just be like, oh, hey, like,
Yeah.
oh, huh, okay,
I think
there's that person.
I'm like that a lot of the time too. Like, I mean, Sarah Jessica Parker lives right down the street. I see her all the time. Like literally last week I walked out of my apartment, or maybe it was 3 weeks ago, walked out of my apartment and then proceeded to accidentally follow Jesse Tyler Ferguson like into a restaurant. He was like in front of my apartment walking with his husband, and like we were both going to the same place. And so just like happened to follow him all the way from my home to
Sure.
literally into the restaurant. They held the door
Yeah, I'm
open for us.
sure. I'm sure you just happened to follow him, Linda.
And like Andy Cohen's always in the neighborhood. Speaking of Bravo celebrities, like there's just always people around. And usually I'm like very chill and I just like kind of move on. But this
Mm-hmm.
morning was like a particularly big one for me because like
Mm-hmm.
it's fucking Bradley Cooper. Like that's epic.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he's pretty dreamy. He's a
He's
dreamy
pretty
person.
dreamy. He is
Yeah,
dreamy
you get
indeed.
lost in those
Oh,
eyes.
one that I totally freaked out about too was Matt Bomer.
Mm,
You know Matt
yeah,
Bomer?
yes, of course, he's very, very handsome.
Oh my God. I mean, like White Collar was my I remember watching it in college and I like binged the entire show. And I remember being in a show in college and I was doing that. I don't know what the name of the acting technique is, but where you like replace someone with someone real.
Substitution.
Substitution. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I was doing substitution for my love interest and I used Matt.
Uh-huh.
And then, well, this is a long time ago, so I feel like I can say it, but I was sitting at the Elk in the West Village and he walked in and got a coffee. And they don't have seating inside anymore, but they used to. And I like fully, as he like walked back down the street, like fully, what's that called? Rubberneck? When you like are like looking at a car accident, like you can't stop looking at it even though you've driven past it. I think that's called
Uh-huh.
rubbernecking or something. Anyway, I fully like craned my neck around so I could walk him watch all the way down the street. My jaw was just on the floor. This is probably like 6 years ago. It was probably one of the best moments of my entire life. It was just like, he's real. He's really real. I mean, he's so gorgeous.
He's a beautiful, beautiful man.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
I watched him in The Sinner, and he was great in it. He was great.
Yeah.
And he played a straight man who potentially committed a crime. You'll have to watch and see. But
Mm.
he had a wife in the show and they had sex scenes in the show. And I just kept
Mm.
thinking, like, what a lovely experience to have a sex scene
Yeah.
with like a gay man who's obviously so kind and safe and also
Yeah.
like really hot. Like, that's the
Totally.
ideal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
go for it. Because one, he's not going to fall in love with you. And two,
Right.
like, he's safe and kind. You know what I mean? Like,
He's safe and
you're
kind. He's
good.
not going to violate you. He's not like thinking weird things in his head because he's like, oh, this is not my particular cup of tea.
My forte. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was really nice. But yeah, he's a very handsome man. He
Oh,
is
he
like
is a beautiful
Clark
man.
Kent encapsulate. Like he is Clark Kent.
Oh, yeah. He is.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I can confirm he is as beautiful in real life.
Yeah. Is he tall?
Yeah. No. I don't think
how
so.
tall is he? I'm going to look.
Like 5'6", 5'7". I don't
Really?
remember him being tall.
Really?
Maybe he's like 6'5".
5'6". 5'11". He's 5'11".
Well, I guess I'm 5'5". Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I didn't think he was particularly tall, but I never think men are tall unless they're like really tall.
I think
I
Jeff
dated a guy
is
that was
5'10".
6'5" once, and I was like, "You're too
Jesus.
tall. Shrink. God damn it, shrink."
Yeah, I think it's all about how you carry it, you know. But
Yeah.
if he was 5'6", I would have been very surprised
Okay, well,
and
so like my
slightly appalled.
boyfriend's 6'3", and he doesn't feel that tall
Really?
to me.
Yeah, no, he doesn't feel that tall.
No. So I think
He
when I
feels
think of
like
like
a
5'11",
nice
he's
height.
like just a little bit taller than me. I'm 5'6". 5'5" and
Yeah.
a half. We can round
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Matt Bomer is 5'6".
I'm really bad. You know that I think about it, he would have been the exact same height as me, and that doesn't feel right.
And you're like drooling. He's so hot. I mean, maybe
I
honestly,
could
he
see the
probably
top of
still
his
would be.
head.
It
He's
would
so
still be
hot.
great. It would still be.
Yeah.
It would still work for me.
Yeah. That is the thing,
Bless.
isn't it? Like height tends to be attractive. Like somebody as a woman, somebody who's taller than you tends to be more
Yeah,
attractive.
I don't know what
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know what that is all about. I wonder if it's something like instinctual, like evolutionary that someone who's larger than you can take
Feels
care of you.
protective. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fully know. I don't think I've ever dated someone who's like super tall, but I've never dated anyone that felt short. I don't think. So, I'm not sure.
I've never dated anyone that felt short to me either.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm trying to think about it, like how tall are the people that I've dated? I mean, they've all been taller than me.
Mhm.
But one of them I'm thinking of, like, not by that much, but he generally like felt bigger than me.
Yeah.
But there's a girl I follow on Instagram. Well, actually, I don't follow her anymore, but I used to. Her boyfriend is a lot shorter than her, and she makes a lot of content about like, because she's quite tall. I think she's like 6 something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And her boyfriend's like he's significantly shorter than her, probably like 5'6". I mean, clearly we've found out in this conversation I don't really understand height, but that's what I would estimate, like 6 foot and like 5'6".
Okay.
So it's like kind of switched gender, like typical gender roles in terms of the height. And she's always making content about like, girls, like if you're tall, like you can date a short guy, like it doesn't mean anything, like it doesn't say anything. And I totally agree with that. But I do see them and I'm like, huh, that's not what I would picture. And I find that curious about myself, like noticing kind of a judgment there of the height difference, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I think
but
it's
why is that
definitely a
important?
societal thing. I don't fully know. I'm sure it's like internalized patriarchy or something. Let's just blame it on that. But I do think like, I don't know. I think it, no matter what height you are, like if you have swag, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like
Facts.
you can feel like if you're a dude and you're
Who's
5'4", I don't know.
who's a person? I think you know who's. I think you know who I think is pretty short, who has so much swag. Hot Priest.
Andrew Scott. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's so swaggy.
yeah.
Let's see
I
how
think
tall
he's
he
pretty
is.
short.
Oh, I just typed Andrew Scott. He's 5'8", which
Okay.
isn't like short. It's like normal.
That's not short. Yeah.
But even somebody like Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart has got to be like 5'2".
He's so short.
He's so little.
So short.
But like he has the personality of like a basketball player. You know what I mean?
You
Of
would
like a
never know
7-foot
that
tall
man was
man.
short.
No,
Well,
like it
if you
doesn't
see him
factor
just like
in.
no, if you see a picture of him just by himself, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
that is a at least averagely tall man. But then you see him next to any other human and you're like, that is a short man.
He's
That is a little
little.
man. Yeah.
We were watching some of the highlights from Tom Brady's roast last
Yes.
night.
Yeah. And
And
him next to people.
so many of the, well, it wasn't even that, just like so many of the people that were roasting him was just about him being so
Height.
small and
Yeah.
tiny, and
When you see him
was
next to
hilarious.
Gronk, that was a
Yes.
moment for me where I was like, those are both humans. That's wild.
Yeah. Also, like the entire thing, I was like, this actually is a Gronk roast because it's
Yeah.
so easy. Like, bless
Yeah.
him. Like, one, it's so easy, but also two, I don't think he fully understands what people are. That sounds so bad, but like that's the joke of it, is that he like people would roast him and he would just kind of like look, be like,
Yeah.
what? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
That feels less bad.
even when he was doing his roast, because I watched little bits of it too, when he was doing his roast, like he was like, people think I'm stupid, but I'm not. But then he did something that was so stupid. It's kind of like, okay. I mean,
Oh
you're not helping your
God.
point here. Like you can say whatever you
Yeah.
want, but like
Yeah.
you're gonna be who you are. So yeah.
Honestly, he's probably the happiest one on that team because
Facts.
he's
Yeah.
blissfully ignorant and he has
Yeah.
millions of dollars. So, like, whatever.
Yeah. I
He'll
think
be
he's
fine.
probably just fine. Yeah.
He'll be fine. You know, those things that like feel really annoying and like get in the way of your day. And like if you did one tiny thing,
Mm.
it would go away. So, for example,
Yeah,
I
can I
have a
have an
chip.
example? I don't
I have a
understand.
chip on this nail and a chip on this nail, and they have been chipped for 3 days. And every day it like gets caught in my hair when I'm doing my
Oh,
hair. I'll
that's
like
the
scratch
worst.
myself and like it'll scratch real hard, leave a
Yeah,
mark. And I'm like, God damn this freaking nail. And like I could just get a nail file and file them down, and then it
right,
would not be a thing that was in my way anymore.
right,
But I haven't done it yet. But like
right.
a lot of the time, the solution is very simple.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like building up resentment towards these two nails.
Right. How long are you gonna hold it against them?
I don't know. It's
I mean,
always
you
like,
did
well,
your
I
nails, right?
can't do this. It's always like I can't do this now because I have this
I'm
and this
busy.
and this to do. But like
I'm
it will
busy.
literally take 2 seconds.
Right. They look nice.
That Thank you. They're really grown
Which
out. I did
Dazzle
them a
dry?
week ago. I don't know. One of them that I sent you.
Hmm.
But like that, or like there will be times where I really have to go pee, but I'm like, I can't pee right now because I'm doing this other
I'm
thing.
busy. Well, like
But like,
literally me right now.
girl, go pee.
Go
You know what I
pee.
mean? Like, what are we
Right.
waiting for?
Right.
You think that when this
Take care
thing
of
is
yourself.
done, that you're not going to have to pee? Like, I don't
I have
fully
that.
understand that.
I have that with drinking water a lot. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll drink water after this meeting. No, girl,
Yeah.
drink water now because you have to continuously drink water your entire life. So don't put it
Till the end.
off.
Till the
Yeah.
end. Yeah. What are we
Literally,
putting
you're going to
off?
need water for forever. So just drink your goddamn
But like,
water.
why do we do that? I will find myself saying out loud, like, just go do it now. Like, I will say that to myself.
Why don't you
Like, no,
go file your
no,
nail right now?
go do it. Well, the thing is that I'm not going to do it right now, but I will do it when we're
Oh,
done.
yeah? Why?
Because we're talking and I wouldn't want to disrespect you. And also, this is the conversation we're having right now.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it's funny how many times, like, something really, really simple is the problem and is
Yeah.
also like getting in the way of my entire life.
Right.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel that especially with the nail thing because, like, you'll be taking a shower and it'll get caught on your nail, and then your nail is yanking on your hair and you can't get it off, and then it's the worst.
that, oh, I mean, I said this is like a different scenario, but when I told you about this a while ago, I had this issue with, I think it was with the brakes on my bike. I can't remember. Something with my bike when I was still living in New York. And I had gone in
Yeah.
once to get it fixed at the bike shop, and I left and it wasn't fixed. And I was like, well, I guess
Right.
I'll wait until I come back in 6
Right.
months.
Right.
And then the next time I went back and I was like, hey, this is going on with my bike. Can you fix it? And he was like, yeah, no problem. And then I went to pick it up and I left the bike shop with the bike and it wasn't fixed. And I was like, well, I guess I'll wait another 6 months until. And then I was like, I am half a block away. Why can't I turn around and be like, hey, remember this thing that I said that I needed done? It's still messed up.
It's not
And I
done.
literally went in and did it. And he fixed it in 2.5 seconds. And I left and I was like,
That
why
was
did I
easy.
wait so long to do that?
I do that a lot when I leave the house, but I'm not wearing the proper clothes. Like it's too cold outside and I like actually need a jacket, but now I'm already outside. Like I'm literally
You can't go
outside my
back
front door
in.
and I feel it and I'm like, well, I have to leave now because otherwise I have to get my keys out and open the door and that would be a really big hassle.
Yeah.
I'll just be miserable for the next 12 hours. That's fine.
Yeah. I guess this is
Yeah.
just my life now.
I'm going on this fucking walk and I'm going to just be cold cuz I walked outside the door. And my
Yeah.
keys are in my purse next to me that I'm
Yeah.
holding. But that would be too
It's
much.
too hard. It's too
Yeah.
much.
I mean, I feel like sometimes leaving the house feels like such a hassle to me anyway. Like I'm like, oh, I have to get dressed and put on shoes and make sure I have my keys and my phone. And oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
my AirPods need to be charged because just in case I need to listen to those. Like it's a lot of steps. And so by the time I get outside, I've already accomplished something really big. And then I can't
Yeah.
possibly go back inside because I might get stuck and never leave again.
Yeah. You've
That
already
is how
made
I
the
feel
leap.
sometimes. I've made the leap. I've walked out the door. It's done. I've crossed the great divide and I can't go back.
Yeah. But it feels like what Glennon Doyle says. She's like, it's we can do hard things, but doing easy things like we can't do. Sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I can work through this emotional block that I have in therapy, but I can't file my nail. Like, what? Why? Why?
What? When you have therapy afterwards, do you need like 2 hours to decompress? Or is that just me? Do you like get up and move on with your day?
I think that if I don't know. I feel like when I first got with my therapist, I very clearly told her experiences that I'd had in the past where I didn't feel like I was fully regulated after sessions. And so I would leave and feel crazy for a while, like feel
Mm.
crazy for the next week until I had another session. And I don't know if I have built it in or she's built it in or we've built it in together, but I feel like towards the end of our sessions, we always kind of wind down.
Mm.
And then I usually have something to do right after because normally I'll like work soon after therapy.
Yeah.
I don't think, I don't know. One of the things that I love about her is that I feel like our sessions are much more like back and forth conversational where I'll be talking about a thing and then she'll kind of offer her take on it, like her offered like a tool or it sounds like this is what's going on or whatever. I just feel like consistently in our sessions, if I come in charged or something charged happens, she's very good at helping me like understand it and like uncharge it. Like I always
Mm.
feel better when I leave.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. But you need some time to
Decompress
chill
afterwards.
after.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't always need it. I need it a lot of the time. Like that's actually a conversation I've had with my therapist as of recently where I'm like I feel really unregulated after our sessions and I feel like I've kind of it spins me into something less helpful. We don't like tie it up enough at the end. And I didn't always feel like that, but I think I didn't always logically or like consciously feel like that. But like even I look back, even when I was working like my corporate job and I would have therapy and afterwards I'd like need to sit on the couch for an hour or like I'd want to scroll on Instagram because I just felt really unregulated. But when I would go in person, I never felt like that. And I think it was because I walked there and I walked back. So like the walking kind of helped me regulate myself and get back to a place of like being in my body and being able to like do other things, you know. But I notice if I'm not like forced to like leave the office, like if I'm here at home, I can know logically go for a walk. It'll help you regulate again. But then have a hard time forcing myself out of the house to go for the walk. It feels like a big effort. Yeah.
Like extra effort for you to do that.
Yeah, but it makes me feel better.
Is there anything that you can do like in your apartment that would feel good, or is it really just the walking that helps?
Well, I think it's like moving my body that helps. If I were to like do an exercise class afterwards or something like that, I think that would help too. But yeah, I just notice I like want to escape really bad after a therapy session. Maybe because it's like forced me to be so present and so my feelings that afterwards I'm like, oh, I want to scroll through my phone. I want to like not do things that are actually beneficial for myself, but things that help me kind of leave myself and go somewhere else for a little while. You know,
versus like getting back into your body and allowing it to like integrate like what you just went through.
Right.
Do it.
There's like a little bit of escapism.
That makes sense. I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Being in
And like
therapy.
like I think a lot of the times in therapy, I talk about things that I'd rather not talk about or like truths that I'd rather not be true. It's like the hard things that I try to not process, you know? Like otherwise I wouldn't need therapy. If it was easy to talk about these things, then I wouldn't have a therapist to talk through it with, you know? So
yeah.
Like it makes sense to want to escape afterwards. But I just noticed that it doesn't always I kind of have to trick myself into regulating myself or like force myself into regulating myself because it's not the natural thing that I want to do. I don't always want to do like the healthiest option. Sometimes I want to do the unhealthy thing.
Yeah,
You
of
know, yeah.
course.
And
We
that
all
makes
do.
sense. Yeah.
And I think I'm imagining that there's an aspect of I just did this hard thing for an hour. Why do I also need to go do this other thing where I need to go on a walk after? Like why can't I just do whatever else I want to do? I think like an hour of work feels like enough, but sometimes we need a little bit more than that. You know, sometimes we need to say, okay, here's the container. We're going to do an hour in therapy and then we're going to do a 15-minute walk, and it's just like they are combined now. Like they are connected now that I'm doing both of them.
Habit stacking.
I had a talk. Yeah, exactly. I had a talk with a friend recently and they were talking about all of these things that they did in order to get ready for like this big event. And I could sense in what they were saying that there's a little bit of like self-judgment around having to do all of those things in order to like feel like the event went successfully, which it did for them. And I was like, you got to do whatever you got to do. Right. You know, like there's the judgment behind you having to do all of these things and maybe other people don't have to do all of those things. Like you got to do whatever you need to do, and the judgment's not helpful. And like if that's going to make this a successful thing, then that's all you need to know. And also like you won't always have to do all of those things. Maybe for a while, but like yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. Like, you got to do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
To feel good, to feel regulated.
Yeah.
I'm going to do kind of EMDR next week with my therapist. She said we were going to do EMDR like a month or two ago, but then that's when all of my business stuff was happening. So I was like, we need to wait. And then this is like an offshoot that she said she's just learned recently, but she's had a lot of success with. So we're going to do that. So I'm
How do you do that virtually?
So I think it'll be, I don't fully know how she's going to do it, but I'm imagining there will be like tapping, like right side, left side, right side. And she talked about fluttering the eyes, like rapid eye movement. But she'll give me the full thing next week. We'll find out.
Okay. That's exciting.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe I'll need to build in some regulation after that, or maybe that will help me to regulate. We shall see.
Yeah. Well, you've been thinking about doing that for such a long time. That's exciting that you finally worked your way to doing your first session of it.
Yeah. I know. It's cool. She's given me everything I need, which is very exciting.
Yeah. You were talking about how like sometimes when you're doing like the therapy work, you like want to just have some time to do whatever you want and like just decompress and have that freedom to have space. Like you've done the work and that's enough and now you need to do something else. And we were talking about TBM this morning and how I was like, I mean, that is something that I get to do and something that I want to do, but it doesn't feel like free time. It feels like work time. And so when I do it, I need to like pair it with time to also just decompress and do whatever I want to do, because although I want to do TBM and that's a choice and it's not a need to do, it is work and it's like heavy and it can feel difficult and sloggy and emotionally draining. And it's important for me to also have time that I build in together with it that feels decompressing and,
Yeah.
fun.
It's not relaxing.
It's like, not relaxing.
TBM is not relaxing. Therapy is generally not relaxing. It's like a release.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's relaxing. So like to put it in the same category as rest is not the same thing, No. Like they're two separate things. Yeah. It's part of like self-work. Well, this one was a little random.
It was
we ran the gamut. Whatever. It is what it is. Sometimes we're full of conversation and sometimes it's just whatever comes out. That's what this is.
Sometimes it's focused, sometimes it's scattered. And today it was chaos. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. We will catch you all in a couple weeks. Yeah. And we'll see what happens then.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we'll just talk about one thing. Maybe I'll talk about 10 things. Guess you'll find out.
We shall see.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everybody.